Tales from the pizza joint. Here we go. Yeah, we're gonna tell a not so good tale from the pizza joint today. It's gonna be about Cobbs. Okay, so we got Mr. Cobbs, and we'll call her Kay. I don't even remember what her name is, but she's getting called Kay. So we got Mr. Cobbs. He's a hard-working employee. He works really hard, but he mumbles when he speaks, and he won't speak up, and he always is aggressive. And if he repeats himself, he repeats it in the same rude way. Not because he's being rude, but because he just doesn't say anything nice. He's like, "You want a drink with your order?" And they're like, "I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. You want a drink with your order?" And he'll just repeat it like that, but in a lower voice and kind of mumbly. So Mr. Cobbs has been working with the pizza joint for a couple years now, and well, Mr. Cobbs likes him some ladies with big titties. Okay, so you see anyone with big titties, Mr. Cobbs gonna flirt with her, including underage employees, which is the yikes, Mr. Cobbs. Yikes, Mr. Cobbs. I think Mr. Cobbs is 19 or something. But Mr. Cobbs, you need to calm the fuck down. Whenever I saw Mr. Cobbs flirting with the ladies, it was always, "Hey, Mr. Cobbs, can you come help me with this?" So that he'd stop bothering them. But he's my fucking superior in the chain of command, so I'm not gonna be like, "Mr. Cobbs, stop talking. You're being unproductive." Although I did talk to the manager, I was like, "Hey, Mr. Cobbs is a little bit flirty with his coworkers. Stop scheduling him with the ladies that have big tits. He's really horny." Not that exactly, but I was like, hey, he kind of flirts with every lady who's got big tits. You need to stop scheduling him with ladies who have big tits, dude. He's not that productive. And so Mr. Cobb's working one night. We're closing up shop, and this is when Kay comes into play. Kay is a bitch. I fucking hate Kay. Kay is fucking annoying, dude. So I'm cutting fucking pizzas that are coming out of the oven, and you know what? I'm not that good at it yet. So there's a lot of pizzas coming out of the oven, and I'm kind of trying to cut all the pizzas the best I can, and there's too many pizzas coming out. So I need to put 100% focus into cutting the pizzas. And you know what? Kay walks up, she finishes making someone's pizza, she puts it in the oven, and instead of ringing them up, she walks off and she's like, "Can you ring that guy up?" I'm like, just staring at her like, what? Because she just fucking walks off like I'm gonna do that. And I got pizzas right here, and if I don't cut the pizzas as they come out, they're gonna get backed up, they're gonna burn in the oven. Holy shit. Kay, you're a fucking idiot. So I'm just cutting these pizzas. I'm trying to remember what Kay's name is. I'm just dude, I can't remember her name, man. And then I eventually remember it, and I'm like, "Kay, register!" Really loud and aggressive because I'm a fucking cunt, well, it wasn't loud and aggressive. It was what I just, I said, "Kay, register!" In a loud and not so nice tone. And she just stared at me from the other side of the room, didn't do jack shit, and just went to the back, dude. And so my other man, my team leader, Tyler, who his name's not Tyler, but I've been calling him Tyler, comes over and rings the customer up because he realizes I'm kind of busy. I look kind of frustrated. And he's just looking at me like, "Hey, you need to not do that." The lady who he's ringing up's looking at me like I'm a fucking asshole because I told Kay to get on the register in such a rude tone. I felt kind of stupid, but it's whatever. I couldn't do it. I was trying to get her to be useful instead of just walking off. And so she goes over to Tyler, and Kay's like, "I almost cussed him out. He can't talk to me like that." Yeah, I probably should have been so rude, but ring the fucking customer up, you idiot. Holy shit. But this is where the story gets not so great. I clocked out late that night. Well, not late as everyone else though, and I went home. So you've got Tyler, Mr. Cobbs, and you've got Kay. And I had already cleaned up my shit, and I clocked out and I left. Well, Mr. Cobbs, like I said, is kind of flirty, and Kay's a bit of a thick girl. I think she was 17 or something, so that's underage and kind of yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Avoid that with the plague. But Mr. Cobbs doing his flirty thing has been flirting with Kay, every shift they work. And, you know, I already talked to the manager. I told her, hey, you know, Mr. Cobbs is a little too flirty with the big titty ladies. And so, apparently, they were, like, being touchy-feely, like, shoving each other and shit. And Mr. Cobbs is apparently a little too aggressive when it comes to playing with people and touching them. So, she, like, play punched Mr. Cobbs, and he clocked her in the face. And she had a massive bruise or some shit. I had already left, so I didn't see this myself. But she came in and talked to the manager about it. And I talked to Tyler, and he said, yeah, they were being a little, like, too touchy-feely. And I talked to the manager about it, because he, like, hit her. And, yeah. So, Mr. Cobbs just quit. He is like, yeah, I'm done here. And quit. And now he's a full-time manager at a burger restaurant because he was working 80 hours a week. He was working 40 plus hours at the burger restaurant and then 30 to 40 at the pizza restaurant. So yeah, he's a workaholic, but holy shit. But like another thing with Mr. Cobbs is that he had a girlfriend and he like said that he wanted to put a ring on it and shit, but he literally flirted with every chick with big titties at the restaurant. If they had titties and they could walk, he was flirting with that shit, man. It didn't matter how old they were, too. Like, we'd have, I think the youngest, like, worker we had there was, like, 15 or something. Although, I don't think he flirted with her, because she didn't have big titties, so I guess, yeah, that's still fucking creepy, that he was flirting with, like, a 16-year-old and shit. And, you know, Kay, who was 17, like, holy fuck, Mr. Cobbs. I understand it's, like, a 3-year age difference, but they're underage and you're not. You need to calm the fuck down. Holy shit. One time, Tyler, myself, and Mr. Cobbs were in the back joking around and talking and shit. And, you know, Tyler made a gay joke and, like, hugged Mr. Cobbs. And Mr. Cobbs is yeah, he's straight. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like people making gay jokes about him. Or hugging him. Or, like, touching him and shit. So he was like, you know, mumbling in the low Mr. Cobbs voice, like, what'd you just say to me, you little shit kind of thing? You just call me gay? And he whips out a box cutter. And I'm like, what the fuck is he gonna do with a box cutter? And chases Tyler down and pokes him in the ass with it, dude. He literally pokes him with a box cutter. And then Mr. Cobbs comes up to me and he's like, you gonna say some gay shit to me? And like, I obviously know he's joking, but he literally just poked Tyler in the ass with a box cutter. And I don't want to get poked by the fucking box cutter, dude. So I'm like, no, of course not. And I'm trying not to look nervous or laugh or show him that I'm afraid of getting poked with a fucking box cutter. And he's like, okay. I know you wouldn't, my man. And he puts it away. I'm just like, okay, yeah. Please don't stab me with a box cutter. Please don't stab me. I didn't get stabbed with a box cutter, but holy shit. That was a little spooky. I doubt he'd try to murder me. But yeah, he's a little too touchy-feely when he shows and expresses himself. I don't want to get stabbed with a box cutter. No, thank you. What surprised me the most was that he actually, like, stabbed Tyler in the ass with a box cutter. Holy fucking shit, dude. A while back before Mr. Cobbs had, like, a run-in with hitting his female coworker and shit like that, he always didn't like our manager because, you know, no one really liked our manager. She was really strict and just rude and not very nice. She wasn't, like, rude in an asshole way, but she was never thought of the employee as, like, a person. They were always, you know, someone who works there. They're a cog in the wheel of corporate mundaneness. And so, she didn't really care about you as a person. And Mr. Cobbs didn't really care if she cared about him as a person or not. He just felt like he was a better worker than her, and that he was just, like, better at the job. So, our manager literally told us we need to stop complimenting Mr. Cobbs on his work because he had too big of an ego and thought he was too good at his job. So we needed to stop telling him he was good or hardworking, even though he was, like, really hardworking. He's just a fucking idiot and, like, too horny all the time. Mr. Cobbs, you're a fucking idiot. And so is the manager, but whatever. I think that's all for, you know, Tales from the Pizza Joint. See you next time.
Face the sun again as soon